Hey there. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it has been vitally important to our team at Houston Moms to share about mental health for the past 10 years as it relates to motherhood and this journey. We know how hard it can be to keep your family mentally healthy and keep yourself mentally healthy. And we want to have conversations as it regards to that. And in that spirit, this month, we are bringing to you another mental health panel. And this time we have amassed three professionals from UTMB, and as well as I have two of our Houston Mom contributors and employees with us. And we are just going to have a casual conversation talking about what we do as moms and busy moms at that to keep ourselves and our families mentally healthy this month. And we want to hear from all of you on your tips and tricks too. So before we get all into it, I'd love to introduce my panel. I'm just going to go as I see them on the screen. So I have Mary Barnes with us. She is a Houston Moms contributor. Hey, Mary.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I've
Did you
been
want
a
to talk a
contributor.
little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been a contributor at Houston Moms for a little over 3 years. I have two children that are both elementary school aged, and I live in the Richmond Rosenberg area.
Perfect. And you're obviously living the mom life today in the car. So
Yeah, waiting to pick up my kids from school, but happy to be here. Thanks.
we do what we have to do, right? So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. To my right, I have Dr. Raymer Goodman. How are you?
Doing great. So glad to join you guys today.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's great to see you again.
yeah, I've done one other panel with you before, so I'm excited to be back. I'm a pediatrician and also a mom of two great kiddos. I have a seventh and a fifth grader, and we are down south in the Friendswood League City area.
All right. So for our mamas to the southeast, you're going to see some faces. Um, Elizabeth Baker.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Thanks for having me. I live in Katy. I have been with Houston Mom since 2016, and I've been the managing editor since 2017. I have three kids. I have a seventh grader, a fifth grader, and a second grader.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. Elizabeth, you have, if you have been with Houston Moms or watched Houston Moms or read, you know who Elizabeth is because she has written so many amazing pieces. And we're just so lucky to have her here. So thank you for joining us for this panel. I'm going down over here. Dr. Robinson, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having
Good.
me.
Yeah, remind everyone what you do.
I am a breast imaging radiologist, which means I am a breast cancer doctor. We have three children. Their grades, let's go by grades instead of age. So 10th grade, ninth grade, and seventh grade. And we are in the League City area.
Okay, you just went like that with the babies.
Yes.
Bless your heart. So I know you feel this Mason birthing like all of us. So there's a lot going on with award ceremonies as it relates to kids in middle school and high school. So oh, it's a lot. Thank you for being here and taking the time. Dr. Kashanas, how are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I
You
didn't,
did. Good job. Most people just call me Dr. G because it's a lot easier to remember how to say that. Oh, the puppies are waking up behind you.
yeah.
Um, I am a child and adolescent psychologist at UTMB, and I also am a mom, newly a mom of, well, I guess she's 5 months old. It still feels like a blur though. And I also have a 16-year-old stepson. So we're kind of on both ends of the spectrum here.
Oh, wow. Congratulations on the new little one.
Thank
Uh,
you.
and I think we can all relate to that feeling of like, what just happened? Like,
Mhm.
it just like it feels like a truck a little bit.
Yep.
But so thank you for taking the time and for our experts, especially on a busy day, to be able to share with our community. I think it's vitally important. And I hope those who are watching can just grab at least one or two nuggets of wisdom from these amazing moms. That's our goal, is to help this motherhood journey feel just a little bit less lonely and a little bit less scary. So I'm just going to jump right into it and ask a mama here. So, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit, as much as you want to share, you're comfortable with, about your kids and how you guys keep mentally healthy in the face of some challenges that you have.
Okay, sure. So like I said, I have 3 kids. 2 of them have diagnoses that make life a challenge sometimes. My older son has Lee syndrome, which is a mitochondrial disorder. He is profoundly disabled. So that, adds a lot of challenge to our family. And then my middle child, who's a girl, has ADHD and deals with some pretty intense emotions a lot of the time. So we do have some challenges, but I feel like we work really hard to focus on talking about our emotions, how we feel about things going on in our family. We talk a lot about, coping with hard things. And then I try to spend time individually with each kid, just because, especially my older son, requires a lot of time and a lot of care. And so I want to be sure my other kids, know that they are valued just as much as he is. And that I care for them as much as we care for him. I guess my biggest thing is just a structure in our routine. I really focus on all of us getting enough sleep. Bedtime's really important, and doing things outside the house that are away from all the intense stuff that's going on inside the house. I try to put my kids in activities that they enjoy and spend time with them doing those activities. And then for me, I spend time, outside of caring for the family all the time. I have some really good friends I spend a lot of time with. And I have gotten counseling in the past when needed. And medication plays a part too for both me and my daughter. So I'm on medication and my daughter is for ADHD, which helps a ton. So I do not want to gloss over that. That is a huge piece of it.
And I will put the link below, but recently you wrote a great piece about ADHD medications and just the shortage and how frustrating that already adds to the mom's mental load, because your child needs it, but you can't find it anywhere, or you're having to make 18,000 phone calls and whatever. I know you pretty well.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I know you do an excellent job. Dr. Dr. G, we're just going to go there. Okay. I saw you nodding along to a lot of what Elizabeth was saying as a child and adolescent psychologist. How can you speak to how that looks?
Yeah, well, I also have to say I was trained in pediatrics, so a lot of my work is integrated within healthcare, and I can really appreciate the complexity of raising a kid, not only with a severe health condition and disability, but also another child with a neurodiversity. That's like a triple whammy there. So that's a lot of what you were saying, I was nodding with, because it's things that I find myself telling parents to think about: getting out of the house, getting involved in social activities outside of the family. But that's something that we try to do as well, just be outside as much as possible, literally outside. It doesn't matter if it's still at home, but just not in the house. Because I think these days we get closed in really easily to our walls. We spend a lot of time on screens and a lot of time being busy and kind of overscheduled. And so kind of having some time to be out and doing things that are not necessarily like the day-to-day life. I think it's really important to change it up. And everything she said, especially I don't know if you saw my applaud for you, Elizabeth, for getting your own counseling and taking care of your mental health through psychiatry and medication, whatever that need is for you or for your family. I think that that's so important. And I want to acknowledge, I know it's really hard to get access to mental health care, but it's also, if you do have access to it, take advantage of it, even if it's just those 6 employee sessions, that you get with most insurance. Take it, take what you can get, because it can be really helpful.
I love that for both of y'all sharing that. It's such valuable information. And Dr. Goodman, I saw you nod along as well as a pediatrician. Obviously, you must see a lot of kids with ADHD and other things that are going on in their house and how that can affect the family unit. So, what's your advice to a mom who maybe feels overwhelmed by like what's happening with their kids or diagnoses? Like, what do you recommend to them?
So first of all, reach out for support if you need it, just like you were saying you've done. Um, you know, if you're having a struggle, reach out to your pediatrician, reach out to your own physician. If you have a therapist, reach out to them, reach out to your child's school too, and engage the counselor there or the teacher there to help you kind of brainstorm and troubleshoot. Every family is different and every child is different. And sometimes what works for one doesn't work for another. And even in my own kids, what works for one kid does not work for the other. So sometimes you just have to figure out how to love each kid the best way and how they need to be loved. I've got one that needs lots of affirmation and cuddles, and another that would like totally roll her eyes at that and just wants quality time to build them up. So yeah, figuring out what each kid's bucket looks like and what your own bucket looks like and how you refill your own bucket so that you have the energy to put into managing everybody else in the family as well is really important. A lot of times we have to do a lot of activities through the day that are bucket draining. And so we need to be intentional about building in those things, meeting with those people who are bucket fillers for us and getting that exercise or that sleep or that healthy meal or whatever it is that helps us recharge as well.
Yeah, I always love the metaphor. It's such great advice. I always love the metaphor of the oxygen mask that you have to put it on yourself first before you put it on your child, because like we can't do anything if we're just like frazzled and without oxygen, if you will. And so great advice there. Mary, do you relate to kind of two different kids um and how their buckets are filled? What does that look like for you guys in the Barnes family?
Yeah, so I have a son who is 10 and a daughter who's almost 7, and their needs are so vastly different as far as their mental health and how they want their buckets filled. Um, my son has some neurodivergence and struggles with anxiety. He's had, cognitive behavioral therapy, chat therapy, and he also has used medication in his life. That's something that's helped him tremendously. And I support using medication to support mental health. I've done it myself over the years, struggled with depression a lot as an adult. So I think normalizing that for my children and letting them know, like, hey, mom takes it too. Mom has struggles too. Um, my son is a little bit more private. I usually offer him the option of privacy or company, and sometimes he chooses, whichever one he chooses, he knows it's okay. And then, sometimes he wants to connect deeper. Sometimes he wants me to just watch him play a video game, and that's okay too. My daughter is sensitive, and sometimes she's just sad, and I'll say, is there something happening, or do you just feel emotional? And sometimes it's just emotional, and that's okay too. So she's still at an age where she's learning to identify her feelings, and I hope that, as she grows, I'll be the person that she goes to. But if not, she also knows that she has a strong network, and that she can rely on friends and other trusted adults to help her with the things that I can't help her with or that she doesn't want to bring to me.
Okay, privacy or company. I love that. That's what that's such a good nugget to kind of like be able to have an imagery put to that. Like, do you want privacy or company? Um,
Yeah.
what a great option. And I think, it's important that we don't get offended if they choose privacy, right? That
Yes.
we are like, okay, well, I respect your choice, even though, like, I'm a fixer, right? Like, so I want
Yes.
to jump in there and be like, what do you need? Like, how can I
Yes.
help you? But a lot of times they just need some quiet time. And we need to be okay with them having that quiet time. So I think that's such valuable advice. Thank you for sharing that. Dr. Robinson, we talked, you have three older, like kind of in the older range of children. What does it look like for your household? And obviously they're probably vastly different. Can you share a little bit about what you all do?
Well, so it looks busy, as it always is. So it's funny when the children are younger, you think, oh well, they get older and they'll be able to bathe themselves and drive and this and that, and wow, it'll be a lot off the plate. And actually, that's not true, is what I have found. But two things that I want to mention in terms of I definitely like what was mentioned about we have to build ourselves up. We have to make sure that we have the resources to pour in. So I did an intentional a few years back. I just was at a point where I needed to really take a moment and pivot. So I took some time, and my focus for that time was rest, relaxation, and relationship building. Rest, relaxation, and relationship building. And it made a huge difference because as I build those relationships, as I took time to see who am I in this season, we grow and we evolve and we change. And we are the mothers and the wives and the physicians or stay at home moms, whatever it is. We all have many hats that we wear, and sometimes you can just get lost in terms of who am I at this season. So figuring that out was very helpful. We've also been intentional about, in terms of the one-on-one time, saying we're going to have a date with that child. So it's your date night. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And it's just interesting to see what they say, what they want to do. Chatting, trying to be quiet when things come up that you're thinking, but you want to keep those doors open. And my mom had some health situations that caused her to need to stay home. So she was a stay-at-home mom. I am a full-time working mom with three kids. And so it's amazing to me that our roles, we're still called mom, both of us still have the same title, but we live very different lives. So just being very cognizant of um, my belief system is the children you have for a reason. I believe that God gave us these three kids because I was supposed to be the mother to these three kids. And admittedly, sometimes we feel inadequate. Sometimes we feel that we fall short. But keeping that in mind, having those relationships that with other mothers specifically who are saying, you're doing a good job, or have you thought about doing this? I also joined a mother's group, and it's been great. So that's what I have.
I love that. I think it's the sense of community, right? That you don't want to feel like you're alone. And that is my hope as we share this video, is that there's one mother out there watching it who may have a 5-month-old Dr. G at home, or have, some teenagers or health issues within their family, and they feel a little bit less alone because you may be seeing some of yourself on this panel and screen today. So fingers crossed. I know. So, Dr. Goodman, kind of what we've talked about a little bit is a little bit of medication talk as it relates to different, disorders or whatever we want to call. How do you approach moms if that is something that's medically necessary for a child?
So every decision that we make in terms of treating a child is going to be a collaborative decision with the child and the parents and me together, trying to figure out the best path forward. When we're treating things like anxiety, depression, I'm always going to recommend that we get a therapist involved as well, because there's lots of really good data that shows that having a therapist help your child navigate those situations is so valuable. and can over time decrease the need for other medications. But sometimes medications are a really important tool, and can really make a huge difference in a child's life. With ADHD medications, I talk to families about this being one of the many tools in your child's toolbox. And it's a really useful tool. Some kids have told me things like, when I'm not on my medicine, it feels like I'm being asked to take a math test, but I don't have a pencil and everybody else does. And when I'm on my medicine, it feels like I get a pencil too. And it's just as easy for me as it is for everybody else to focus and do what I need to do. When it comes to anxiety and depression, some kids tell me things like, now that I'm on my medicine, I realize how much weight I was carrying before and how hard everything was for me to do. And now that I'm on my medicine, I feel like I can do it. I can make it. I can get done what I need to get done and participate in my life. And those are just really encouraging things to hear. So there's definitely a really important role for medicine. And it's not the right fit for everybody, but it is for a lot of people and can really make a difference.
I love that. And especially the collaborative approach. I think that's something that y'all do at UTMB Health so well, as teams that work together. So you have a pediatrician, but who they need to talk to from, different therapists you can recommend, psychologists, like Dr. G. So I do love that collaborative approach. And I think, Elizabeth, there was something you said, and it's almost like a modeling behavior, being like, hey, like I'm in therapy, like I take medication, like that we're making it more acceptable. Can you and I say acceptable like in quotes, because I still think there's such a stigma to therapy, to medicine. So Elizabeth, can you kind of speak to how your conversations at home go with your kiddos?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we just really look at medication as just a normal thing. I mean, my husband has diabetes. He has to take medication for that. I take medication for, anxiety, and my older son takes like a million medications every day. So it's just a normal thing. And it's not, I don't think my daughter sees it as a stigma at all, her taking her medication, because she knows it makes her function so much better. And I found things that she's written about her ADHD and how she feels about it. And, and she knows that, this is a struggle when she's not on her medication, or if she's not able to control her emotions and things. And she doesn't like to feel that way. So for us, I think, yeah, just like you said, Megan, just normalizing it. Like, this is a tool. This is what we use to be the best people that we can be and treat each other the best that we can treat each other. So yeah, and same thing with therapy. I think for my kids and for this, hopefully for this whole generation we're raising, it's not going to be seen as something that's weird or abnormal. It's just something you do to be the best you can be.
I think that is such a huge gift. I'm a byproduct of the 80s. So mental health was not something we talked about. It wasn't, I didn't even know therapists existed, and it was just kind of like how we didn't know dermatologists really existed until I was like in high school. And now our kids know everything about skincare. So why shouldn't they know about mental health as well? And so, Elizabeth, we've kind of had a similar journey with my daughter. And we've just made it just very normal since she's showed the need, the signs of the need, like when she was 7 or 8. And now she has no problem telling her friends that she goes to therapy and goes to counseling, and there's no shame in it. And she's like, I don't care if people know. So that's the only reason, by the way, that I'm saying it, because she's like totally fine with it. So I think it's cool. Like, I think it's very cool for this generation to feel that comfortable in their mental health. It makes me really hopeful for what they're going to be like as young adults. Because I do feel like, and Mary, like you kind of referenced this too, like our struggles as, probably 20s and 30s, even into our, I don't want to age you, but even into our early 40s, that we had to fight so long, right? I felt like we had to fight. Did you feel that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you saying, I think our generation still feels the stigma. And then, like Elizabeth said, I hope that our children will sort of bust through that stigma and just accept that, mental health care is health care. I've never hesitated before taking ibuprofen if I have a headache. So, hopefully we can just normalize getting the help that we need, however we need to get it, whether that's through speaking with the counselor, doing other things like eating healthy, making sure we get enough sleep, or being on mental health medication.
Such good words. And that's a great segue to Dr. G. So let's say there's somebody at home that's watching this and they're like, okay, well, I'm hearing all these great things about what we can do for our mental health. And obviously, I love the tips of like, the like going out and I mean, just walking sometimes, like taking a
Mhm.
15-minute breather and just, I'm not like what do you, crusty mom, but like I do understand like grounding and putting your feet on the grass and
Yeah.
I think there's huge value in that. And so for the mom that's watching this and being like, okay, you know what, I think our family could benefit, what's kind of the first step, whether it's for the mom or for the kid?
Yeah, good question. And just you don't have to be crunchy to appreciate grounding. There's data behind that. So I just want to throw that out there.
No, I mean, it's just like I do love it. Like it feels,
Yeah,
I mean, I
there's
drink
so
a lot
much
of
to
Diet
it.
Coke too. So here we
Yeah,
are.
I could do a whole nerdy neuroscience podcast or whatever with you about, that kind of stuff. I think it's incredible the benefits of being outside. But you asked how, like, what's the first step? And I want to say, I know most moms have a tendency to want to make sure their kids are taken care of before themselves. So I'll start with the kids because that's going to be usually what happens. So if your kids aren't doing well, if your kids need support, I want to plug two services. These are statewide services across Texas. So it's not just at UTMB, although I am part of the team that does it at UTMB. We have free therapy services for kids through their school districts across the state. It's called T-Chat. It's something that every state or every school in Texas has access to if they choose to. Some schools have opted out, but for the most part, a very large amount of schools have been covered. In our area specifically, I know Katie's involved. I think that there's some districts down around Richmond. Fort Bend ISD is involved. We cover CCISD, Friendswood, League City, Lamarck, all those areas down towards Galveston included. So most kids in Texas right now have access to T-Chat, which gets you free consultation either with psychiatry or a therapist. So it's a great place to start, at least get some information, ask some questions of a professional. Usually it's short term, but they will work really hard to get you connected in the community if they can't keep you through whatever the services that you need. And then another part of that is CPAN, which is a consultation program for providers. So if you're a provider listening, like Dr. Goodman and Robinson, know that you also have access to a psychiatry consultation service, which I know Dr. Raymer Goodman uses all the time. And you can call and get free consultation on how to help your patients with medication for mental health, which a lot of physicians may or may not be comfortable doing because they're not trained psychiatrists. And so when you have a more complex case or even a kid like Elizabeth's child who has a medical complexity, you want to run that by people sometimes. So that's a service that's a part of that program as well.
It's amazing to know about that. We're going to make sure to drop those links below so that we can access. And I know I feel like we could be here all day and talking about all this mental health but I want to stay respectful of y'all's time. It's very busy mamas on all account and before Mary gets a bunch of kids jumping in her car. But so I wanted to kind of wrap it up this way. So I'm going to ask you each for just a one piece of advice for the mom who's just tuning in. They want to hear one thing um, that will either make them feel less lonely or something that can help them in their mental health journey as they are walking through this with their families and how they keep their families mentally healthy. So, Dr. Robinson, I'm going to go down to you first.
I would say show yourself grace. Show yourself grace.
I love that. Dr. Raymer Goodman.
I'm going to say make time and space to listen to yourself and also to your children. Just kind of work that into your daily and weekly routine.
I love that. Elizabeth?
I would say when people offer to help you, say yes, because they wouldn't offer unless they really wanted to. So.
That's a whole blog post too about how we need to accept the help that's so freely given. Ooh, yes, accept the help. I love that. Dr. G, what you got?
I want to say just try to be kind to yourself and to your kids. I think it goes along with being graceful as well, but we have a tendency to get really critical and negative, I think, as moms when we feel like we're not making the cut or we made a mistake. And so just remembering that you're doing the best you can at all times. And sometimes that looks really bad, but that's okay because that's your best at that time. So we just got to be kind to ourselves and give ourselves another chance, another day.
Absolutely. And every day's a new day. Thank goodness for new mercies. And Mary, your one piece of advice.
I would just say, like, take it one day at a time when you're struggling. The things that you're going through now are not permanent, and the things your children are struggling with are also not permanent. So keep your head up and just take it one day at a time.
Great advice. And as y'all were talking, I'm like, I wish I had something really prolific to say. I don't. I would say for me, the biggest part of my mental health journey has been to find a circle that supports it. And so I needed to find friends that would understand, or friends who maybe if I was maybe in a little bit of a spiral, that they would understand that, like, hey, I might be delayed on sending that text message back, or um, I'm not going to be able to do 4 days of outings in a row. Like, I know that about myself. And so, like, I appreciate the people who can kind of understand that, like, I just can't do all the things because it's not mentally healthy for me. And so find your circle, I would say. And if you feel lonely in this journey, please don't. Please know that this is just a sampling, a small sampling community of women and moms in Houston who feel passionate about mental health and who are dealing with mental health issues within their family, within themselves. It's nothing to be shameful of. And I promise you, your next door neighbor or someone across the street is dealing with something similar. And I think the best thing we can do as a community is continue to open up about it. So we're going to keep talking about it. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we are going to have a bunch of articles coming out of people sharing their experiences, because I think it's helpful to read those shared experiences. Again, to know that you're not alone in it. We're so grateful for our partners at UTMB Health for recognizing mental health awareness for what it is. That it's something that we continue to need to bring to the forefront of the conversation. And for all of you ladies who joined me today, I know it's not easy to open up about these things sometimes, but I do think it's vitally important. And I appreciate your participation so much. So thank you for being here. And we are going to drop a bunch of links for you guys below. So we're articles that we referenced and how to find a pediatrician. We're going to put up the links on the programs that Dr. G spoke about and other pertinent mental health articles that are coming out from Houston Moms this week. So keep an eye on the comments for those. If you have a question, don't hesitate, just drop it below. And we'll get somebody from UTMB Health to come back and answer it. Or if it's something private, go ahead and shoot us a message there too. We'll make sure that we get a healthcare provider who can help answer your question, or we can put you in the right direction. So Thank you all again for joining us. We'll be back next month for another important health topic. But this month, we encourage you to stay mentally healthy and get outside before it gets too hot. So, y'all take care and have a great day.